Good morning, everyone. My name is Denise Crease. I am Trenton Public Schools Parent Coordinator and Homeless Liaison. We welcome all of you for joining us today for the Parents as Leaders workshop series. And we thank Parents Inc. for hosting this series with us. We are so excited for you to get all of the information regarding preventing parent burnout, effective parent leadership skills, and effective communication, and much more. And we're going to have deeper discussions on how to then turnkey parent support groups. Now, for those of you that have joined the session, there is a stipend attached to this. We ask that you be present, engaged, and that you complete all the necessary tools after the workshops and efforts for us to get you your stipend. Now, one of the requirements is you have to be a parent of a child that attends Trenton Public Schools. Okay, so that's one of the requirements. Another requirement is that you attend at least 3 of these sessions. We are continuing to meet during this time with Horizon after Parents Inc. has completed their workshops with you. And we will be reviewing healthy living, mental health, and healthy eating. And so we're really excited to share this information with you. At the end of the session, you will be provided with a parent engagement survey. Now on there, we will ask for your address. So once a stipend is sent to you, you will have to put your zip code and your city with your address. I know you're thinking, why is she adding that? Because sometimes, when we're in a hurry and we're going through the surveys, we just put the address, name, and we forget to put the city. So again, we thank you. And I'm going to turn it over to Doreen and Miss Kathy. Welcome.
Welcome. Good morning. My name is Doreen Finley. I'm an assistant director at Parents Inc. And we have Miss Kathy Rowe, who is our executive director at Parents Inc. And we are so excited to be a part of the Trenton Board of Education. We do work in your community on different events, different workshops, and we are happy to have you here with us this morning. First, we're going to do a little check-in to see how everybody's feeling this morning, okay? And the first goal of this workshop is we're in Vegas because what's said in this group is going to stay in this group. So that's one of the confidentialities that we hold with high esteem, that you could feel safe in saying whatever you need to say during our workshops. So we're going to begin the workshop by me asking you your first name and how do you feel today? This is called our open statement. These workshops are going to run into the end game, which is to open a support group in your schools so that you can have a place that's non-judgmental where you could get to talk with other parents about things that are going on in school. So I'm going to start with Kathy. How are you feeling today? Kathleen Rowe. Yes.
There we go. I'm really excited. Again, my name is Kathy Rowe. I'm the executive director of Parents Inc. And we are really excited to be doing this Parent as Leaders training. A lot of you may not know our organization, but we are the statewide leader in training parents to take their place at decision-making tables. We want to provide parents in Trenton with the skill sets so that you can actually be leaders in, starting parent support groups in your community, in your school, because we have found that parents are truly the experts when it comes to their families. And all too often, that you get on these parenting classes and people try to tell you all about what you should do and, how you should, discipline your kids, how you should treat your family. And we say, you want to really know what works? Talk to other parents. Talk to parents who have kids the same age as yours. Talk to parents who live in the same community as you do. So I'm so excited about this training. I hope, you're going to join us for all 3 sessions, and then we're going to do some ongoing work together to keep support groups going, because nothing helps you. And I know this from my own life of, raising my kids as a single parent. Nothing helps you more than a support group. So we're excited, Doreen. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, I'm going to just go around and I want you to say your first name and tell us how you're feeling. It's important that we all know how each other's feeling this morning. And I mean, be real. I mean, if you're tired, you're tired. I'm actually excited, but tired is a feeling. Frustrated is a feeling. Whatever that feeling is, we want you to express it this morning. So I'm going to start with Gordon. Miss Gordon, Jane, yes. How are you feeling this morning?
Well, every morning I'm always overwhelmed.
Okay.
Because I have to get 5 kids out of here in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm always so overwhelmed, and I have to kind of bring it down a little bit after the morning slowly progresses and the kids get out. The last kids are out. The bus doesn't come until it doesn't come before 9 o'clock.
Oh, okay. Right.
And the kids start school at 8:40. So I'm always, oh my God, they're late again. And, it's very overwhelming.
Right. And that's a true feeling. If you have to get kids out in the morning, that's real. Getting them up, getting them dressed, giving them a little something to eat before they get to school, making sure that they have all the things they need for school that day, homework, books, pencils. I'm a mother of 4, so I know what it's like to have a kid in grammar school, have a kid in middle school, have a kid in high school, all at the same time. So that's a true feeling. And we thank you for your true feeling this morning, Miss Gordon. Okay,
You're welcome.
next we're going to go, is it Farah? Farah? Can you unmute yourself?
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Farah. I cannot complain that much because, I got an accommodation for my work. I have to start at 9 in the morning, and I only got one son. He's only 3 years old. He's going to school like in Greenwood. But sometimes, it's still too much to get up to make him ready to school. Sometimes it's like he doesn't want to wake up because he's so special. He don't really sleep at night. But I'm so excited to see what I'm going to learn from that program, so I can be able to help my son and other kids.
Right. And yourself. The most important thing is we're going to help you. We're going to help you today to identify all of these different feelings and how to find out how we can handle them. Okay, Andrea?
Good morning. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for having me today. I can't complain. I'm really blessed. I'm healthy. My kids are healthy. The one thing I try to do is try to take day by day to not get stressed after all these pandemics and virus and all about this, the hybrid education in home. So it is hard, but I try to take it relax.
Yeah.
Because
Good.
if you get a stress, your immune system is going down, and it's really important for me having in this kind of workshop. I have been in this country for 20 years. I have 2 kids. My oldest son, Jesus, is studying at Trenton Central High School. He's in 11th grade.
Mm-hmm.
And I would like to share it with you. I'm still working in my English learning my language, because my first language is Spanish. I'm working on it. I'm having so many classes, ESL, and this workshop, it is a challenge for me, because all the information I'm going to get cannot transfer to others who doesn't speak English, or this person are afraid to ask. So thank you for this kind of workshop.
Yes. And we're so glad to have you, and we're hoping that you get all that you can from today's workshop.
Yeah, and Andrea, you made a really good point about how tired parents are. We all thought the pandemic was going to last maybe 6 months, maybe a year. And it's just like every time a new variant comes out, it's so much on the shoulders of moms and dads, but it's a lot. And I think all of us get really tired.
I really like to learn from this workshop how to handle when the kid has to stay in home.
Mhm.
Because the virus cases going up. So I try to make it the schedule, sometimes works, sometimes doesn't work. So yeah, I just try to take day by day and
Yep.
try to not get it stressful.
Right. And that's the best way to handle it, Adrian, day by day, because we don't know what's going to happen in the morning. We just have to wake up and see what the world says, because we don't. So the way you're handling it is a very healthy way, day by day. Okay, Ms. Pilgrim, Tanisha.
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Tanisha. I live in Trenton.
How are you feeling?
I think her internet is a little.
Tanisha, why don't you try turning your camera off, and then maybe it will speed up your broadband and your internet at your house. If you turn off your camera, you may be able to communicate better.
Okay, let me just try to see.
We can hear you now.
You can hear me better?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm really kind of looking forward for this workshop to see what I can gain in order to just help myself, better myself, and those that will be around me in my community, as well as my kids' school.
Okay. Well, you're definitely going to get some tidbits today, Tanisha, and we're so happy that you are joining us today. Okay, Ivory. Ivory. Okay, how about we'll come back to Ivory. We'll go to Miss D. Good morning, Miss D.
Good morning, everyone. How are you?
Great.
I'm blessed. I woke up this morning. That's the first thing. That's the first blessing I received today. I'm a mother of 4. I only have 1 left in middle school. So I'm still pushing and going through everything that you got to go through. I'm also a parent advocate for other parents. I give information to the parents that don't show up or the parents that have to work. So I extend myself out there to others.
Great, great, Miss D. We're happy to have you. And I like the fact that you're an advocate and you are getting information to parents who are not available, because some of us are not. We're just tied up and we're not. But they have you as a parent leader who can share whatever's going on in the system, which is great. We commend you for that.
Parents work. You know, a lot of parents can't make it to meetings, so I take notes and I share with most of the parents that I am connected with. I try to reach out to other parents and get them involved as well, because the key word is parent involvement, which we don't have a big number. So we got to keep working on that part.
Right. As we chop, that's what we're doing here. We're trying to till the ground so we could get more parents engaged, involved, and wake up and shake up the system to know that you're here and you care.
Right.
Okay, let me go on to Miss Rodriguez. Miss.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
My name is Isma Rodriguez. I'm 29 years old. I have 3 kids, 2 in elementary, 1 in middle school. I'm looking forward to the program and being able to help other parents and being more involved. Because like you said, a lot of parents are not involved, and it's good to, learn new things and just get a lot of the most information you can.
Great. Great. And it's all about leadership, guys. It's all about parent leadership, leading. We lead each other. We have to lead each other. This is we're all in this thing together. No one is exempt today. None of us are exempt. Okay, Rich Ziegler. Good morning.
Good morning. Hi, how are you? Today is a good day, absolutely. Kids got up in a happy, good moods and got dressed and everything was good. We got out of the house and got to school A-okay. I really think what you guys are doing here is an excellent thing. I hope to be able to make all your meetings and see how this works and get involved if I can. I'd like to. I can't make any promises, but we have two boys that live with us. They've lived with us on and off their entire life. They're in elementary school. They're 10 and 11 or 11 and 12, 10 and 11. And Sean and I didn't have kids ourselves. So, we've had nieces and nephews all our lives, but we've never been parents. And parenting is a skill that just doesn't come naturally all the time. And I want to, be good with the boys and also help other folks if possible. So having said all that, I'll be sitting here quietly in the background, watching what you guys do and appreciating it and all you folks. So have a lovely day.
We're so excited. Let's just give a little thumbs up for our dad that's in the program. You only need one dad to really make the connection to other dads. We only need one. So, Mr. Ziegler, we're very excited that you're here with us today, and you will be with us. Okay, if I sit still, my lights go out.
That's very nice. All right, well, thank you.
You're welcome.
I'll be here.
Ms. Marine, I just wanted to echo that and say thank you, Rich, for joining us. And we don't want you to sit in the background. We want you to step up and step out and share what you're feeling so that we can help sharpen some of those tools for you, okay?
Thank you. I shall do my best.
Okay. Amy Marie, how are you feeling?
I'm blessed that I woke up this morning and I'm still breathing, and in spite of all this whole COVID situation. To be very honest, I'm actually a little frustrated. I've been frustrated for the last 2 days about a situation at my daughter's school. Again, my daughter's still sitting at home. And I did reach out to some people, but I didn't get the answers that were acceptable. So I'm trying to deal with that. So anyway, I've been in the district a long time. I have 4 children. I have 2 that graduated 2010 and 2020, and I have one that will about to graduate this June. And I have a daughter in 9th grade academy who is just beginning her in high school. I'm okay. And the same thing, I was an advocate at one time. And I hope that the workshop does bring a lot more parents together, because it does need to have a lot of parent participation. Just like Miss D, getting the information out there to other parents. And I don't think that it's not about parents not wanting to, but it is about our voices being heard and being respected. Just the fact that the district overall doesn't work with the parents. And you want participation, but your system of how you get people to participate doesn't work. Example, conferences. You have 2 students in high school, you have to choose between what child you want to go to their conference, which should not be acceptable, because you shouldn't have to choose between your children, and the teachers need to be aware that, they do have parent participation and parent support when it comes to, all of their children, not just one particular child. So I've been on a parent advisory council back when my daughter was in high school before 2010. So I'm kind of familiar with the district. So there needs to be a lot of changes. And I hope that the parents, really are heard and that there's some changes that do come, because I have seen some changes and I've seen some worse and I've seen some good. So I'm happy to participate. And I just hope that, like I said, we get more parents, because I don't think that, the little bit of parents that are on here, that is awesome. But I think we need more parents that need to participate and be heard.
Now, I think you make a really good point about that, because we work with parents all over the state of New Jersey. And I have to say, we work with school systems too. But, in talking with Miss Denise and talking, hearing her passion about really meaningful parent leadership, a lot of times parents get used in school systems, raise money, have a fundraiser. But when it comes to really being partnering with schools, they don't play well with parents, and parents get burned out. But I feel it, like I said, we work with a ton of school systems, but I really feel that, that there's a legitimate, need, and they want to do something for parents and build meaningful parent power. And that's why they've brought us in. And that's why we're excited about it, because this is what we do. It can't work if just the school has power. It can't work if just the parents run things. It's got to be a shared leadership. And that's what we want to work with, with a core group of parents, and then build it on out. And that's what we need you for.
I mean, and I agree. And that's why I'm happy that Miss Diaz, I called and spoke to her yesterday. So I was happy to be able to, participate in this workshop, because there's a lot of us parents, like as Miss D and myself, who, we do want the parents to participate. We do talk. We do, want different changes. I mean, just for one example, and I'll let you go on, is just example is like, it's not acceptable for parents. My daughter has a situation. I spoke to her guidance counselor yesterday. Her guidance counselor said, "Oh, well, good luck with that. But have you ever thought about taking your daughter out of the district?" That's not solving the issue of what the issue is that my daughter is having in school, that there needs to be a change, not just pull my daughter out of a district. And also too, when parents come to the school, when they have an issue, they don't make it easy to have meetings, and the door, it's a closed door. They say their doors are open, but their doors are closed. And that's where my frustration is, not just with this situation, but for years. I mean, I've been saying it for years and everything else. And it's said, they don't make it easy for us parents, but you guys want participation, but you don't make it easy for us. You work against us. You say you want this, but then when you do get us, so I'm hoping that us here in this workshop can be a strong leadership for us parents, so that the district can take us seriously, that you guys can take us seriously when it comes to our children and the education. I mean, my children are about to leave high school, but I'm on Zoom calls about, reconfiguring elementary schools where I don't even need to have to waste my energy, but because I so care about the students as a whole, I want to, I'm there to give my opinion and my suggestions of what will work and what shouldn't work or whatever. And I don't have to do that because my kids are almost out of high school, but because I care about the district so much that there needs to be a change. So, I mean, that's all. But anyway, hello, everyone. I apologize. I'm just a little frustrated.
Amy, I want to say thank you so much for sharing that. And that is why this is being put together, so that we can be more meaningful in the way we communicate with parents and how we receive information from parents, so that changes can happen, so that you are a part of the table when there's discussions on how to restructure budgets, on how to become, a part of an advisory board, on how to, go to a board meeting, how to sign up for public participation. These are all a part of what we're going to learn. And, although I'm not a part of your frustration, I just want to tell you that I'm apologetic for what you're going through with your children. And as the district's parent coordinator, I'm committed to supporting and helping to identify if there's anything that I can do to further assist, so that we could have an offline conversation after this meeting. However, I just want to say thank you for sharing your voice and being committed, and not using this as a reason to not participate in this kind of meeting. I will say that I agree with you. Parents do want to be involved. Parents want to be engaged, and we have to meet parents where they're at. So that's why you'll see that these sessions will be held in Spanish on Thursday. And this is just a start of what's to come down the road. So thank you, Amy.
You're
Right.
welcome.
And Amy, I just want to say that let's look at today as a new door opening, because this is all new, and we as parents have to constantly give the system chance after chance. But look, this is a new door today, and I'm excited about it. We all peeked in, we're all here. So let's look at it as a future that something that you can engage in that will help support you with the things that you're feeling and how to move forward in a positive manner. Okay, so
Yeah,
we're going to.
and it's not just about me. It's just like I'm speaking just for other parents as well, because that's the frustration. I mean, and just with me being in the district for such a long time, for having 4 children in the district, and I'm at my youngest child, that's just going into high school. I don't want to continue to keep doing this for the next 4 years, like, just with just anything, just the frustration and I mean, I don't know. I'm glad that I'm here, so I'll just be quiet, and that's my whole thing. I'm very boisterous about certain things. I'm not against the district. But there's certain things that need to be changed, and that's one thing is about parents. You want participation, then here we go. Let's get it done. This is a new day. But my issue that I'm dealing with in my daughter's school and my situation with my child or everything else like that, that's a whole nother situation. And I'm not going to say this is a new day, because I've given them chance after chance since September, and it still has not changed. And it's not acceptable anymore. And I am happy that Earl is, the superintendent. He was my oldest daughter's principal. I did enjoy, he was a great principal. So I hope that he's a great superintendent. He knows what the district wants. He knows what the district needs. And I hope that he can be a voice for us parents as well, and for the students, and advocate for, for the board, so that we can do stuff. But anyway, have a good day. I'll be quiet.
Okay. Thank you so much for your true feelings this morning, because that's what this is all about. It's all about telling us how you feel this morning, so that we can begin to find out what it is and move on. We want to move the feelings that we're feeling this morning at this moment to a different feeling at the end of this workshop. Okay, we're going to move a little quickly. Rita, can you just tell us how you're feeling today?
Hello, I'm feeling good.
Feeling good. Good. Okay, how about D. Carol? How are you feeling today? D. Carol, how are you feeling?
She's actually works with the district, so she may just be a listening participant.
Okay. All right. We'll move on to Kim Yetta. How are you feeling, Kim Yetta?
Good morning. I feel great. I'm happy to hear everyone. It's nice. I was thinking particularly that it was nice to know that within the community, just hear the voices within the community is very, supportive. It's very nice. It's nice to know who's out there. And so from that perspective, I just wanted to say hi to everyone and that I'm excited to see everyone. I just wanted to say too, what my experience very briefly has been. I have 3 children that I've raised in the district. Myself, I have went to the school in the district. And what I've found is that as long as there is communication, even if there are not set things in place, as long as there are proper communication and constant communication and open communication, I've found that I've been able to resolve my issues along the way with my children and the district. Also patience. Looking for immediate responses is not necessarily the way, but working with. And it's been all right. It's been manageable. It's been good, And I just wanted to say that I have had things going on, but I've been able to communicate well, and I haven't received any rejection. And I just wanted to point that out.
Okay, thank you very much. We had one, Sandra. Sandra was on? Okay, I don't see.
Miss Carol, D. Carol, she put something in the chat. She said she's not just listening, she wants to express how she feels as a parent of 2 children. One has graduated. After seeing the board meeting last night and hearing the results of the test scores, she made it her business to join us to help parent advocates on behalf of their children. So we are thrilled to have you, please join us and share. The parent advocates, that's what we want to hear. That's music to our ears.
Yeah, and it's very healthy to get these feelings out so they don't fester. Get them out in the opening so that you can have room for some good stuff. Okay. I do not want to miss Brenda Diaz. She's one of our community people who know Parents Inc., who's been with Parents Inc. for at least 5, 6, 7 years. And we're excited. Miss Brenda, how are you feeling this morning?
You have to unmute, Brenda.
Really excited. I'm excited for all you parents that are had joined us today. This is really exciting for the district. Now I work for the district also, but I've been volunteering for Parenting Inc. for quite a while, like maybe 5 years or so. Mm-hmm. And I work a lot in the community, and I can, as a parent advocate as well, I can let you guys know that I'm with you guys too. And I'm here to help as much as I can. I know I spoke to Ms. Amy yesterday, and we had a long conversation after that I went to my supervisor and I was like, you're gonna like Amy. And Denise, I told Denise yesterday, I said, you're gonna like Amy. And we're hoping that all you parents become, create. We're really working on creating parents as leaders, and that's what we want in our community, so that you guys can all bring other parents into this and help and advocate more and more and more, so that all the parents have access to all the resources and services are in the area, creating groups where parents can meet in your schools, and just create an environment for parents to understand each other and be there for each other. And then you have us here in the district that we're here to back you up in anything that you guys need and want to do in your schools. Okay, so feel free to call me if anything. I'm alongside the homeless liaison. I'm the project manager for her, and I'm here to help as much as I can. And like I said, I'm really into the community. I myself went to the Trenton Public Schools, so I'm excited for this. This is really exciting for me to have Parents Inc. in the community. So enjoy, guys.
Okay, our last person is Mr. Trueheart. We just want to see how he's feeling this morning.
Yes, feeling very good, and I'm looking forward to the sessions in virtual. I know we're virtual right now. It's good to see folks' faces and expressions and all of that. My son is an 11th grader at Trenton Central High School. I'm gonna say the Trenton Central High School. And I think that when we hear the stresses and the pressures of life, and we begin to hear parents, and I'm a parent, and I'll share my story about some experience I've had at the high school. But we have to recognize that we've all come out of a stressful situation, out of this pandemic, being virtual. Our students, our children being virtual. My son was most of his time, I tried to get him out of his room doing virtual, but in his room, I do believe that he transitioned well back into the physical environment. But there's many children and many families that are having difficulty back into the in-person learning, where they've been isolated. They have some social emotional needs, and we need to make sure and advocate that the district is providing everything that our children need, both academically, socially, emotionally. My experience is in Trenton High School. I have a good experience with communication with the administration and teachers. I do have one specific teacher that has not returned my phone call, has not returned my email. So that's a bit of frustration on my part. So I need to take it up to the next level. And I think that if we work with our teachers initially of our students and of our children, and then if we don't get a response at the teacher level, take it up to the VP or the supervisor, and then up the ladder to make sure that our issues and challenges get resolved. And even if it has to come to a board meeting, I mean, you're welcome to come and share your expressions and share your ideas, share your frustrations at a board meeting. But I think once we communicate together as a community of parents, I think a lot of our different frustrations, we'll find that we all have similar frustrations and have similar experiences. And if we come together and work together, we can make a difference, not only in our lives, but in the lives of our children, in the lives of other children, in the lives of other parents. So I'm looking forward to this leadership series over the next 6 weeks, or 6 until March, right? So January, February, 3 months or so of the series. And so thank you for inviting me. I'm glad to be here.
Okay, you're welcome. So now we're going to just dive right in. We're going to dive. Kathy Rowe is going to talk about the myths of parenting.
Yeah, I was really happy to hear, Gerard, that you were talking about, and so many of our parents have talked about having kids in high school, having 3-year-olds, having kids in middle school. And why that is so important is because we had a parent advocate down in Camden, and she used to say, if you haven't walked through the river, you don't know where the stones are. And so when I hear parents say their kids are in high school, you have so much information as an advocate to help people as they get there. I mean, the day your kids are born, you all become parent advocates. I mean, you start with advocating at the doctor's office, at the pediatrician's office. You just realize, and then when your kids hit school, your advocacy can't stop until they're out. And then, I thought the happiest day of my life was going to be when both of my kids had graduated high school, but it never stops. You continue to be an advocate for your kids. And that's what we want to really talk about today. And the reason we start our series with parent burnout is because we have found that parent advocates frequently look to everybody else's needs, right? Your kids' needs, your parents' needs, your job's needs. But it's so easy for us as parents to not look at our own needs. And how if we just it's like a pump. If you keep pumping the water out of the well and you never put any back in, what's going to happen? It's just going to dry up. And so that's what I don't want to happen to you. So we're going to talk about what gets parents, some of the things that get parents into trouble in the first place. And I like to call those the myths of parenting. Tom, could we put up the PowerPoint?
Can you see it?
Yep. Can we go to the myths of parenting? Next slide. Next slide. Great. Now, with the myths of parenting, somebody said this morning when we were doing introductions, how do we know how to be parents? If you didn't, be actively involved in raising your siblings, your little kids, I had no parenting experience. And we sell parents by saying, don't worry, once you have that baby, you'll know what to do. It comes naturally. And I don't know about you guys, but it didn't come naturally. I didn't know anything. When I finished pushing that first baby out, I remember laying back and saying, oh my God, thank God it's over. And you know what the nurse said? She said, it's not over, it's just starting. And so we get mad at ourselves as parents and we feel inadequate because, why is my baby crying all the time? Oh my God, well, you're not putting him to bed right. You're not rocking him right. You're not, soothing him. You didn't breastfeed him. Parents get slammed all the time by feeling like they should have known, but they don't. And you know what? most of us parent, I would say 90% of us parent the way we were parented, right? And how many of you sat back and remember saying, I will never say or do to my kids what my parents said or did to me? And then the first time you hear your mom or your dad's words come out of your mouth to your kid, my mother used to say to me all the time, I'm going to knock you through the middle of next week. And I didn't even know what that meant, but I knew it was going to be bad. You know, like I would wake up and it would be Thursday. And I swore to God, I would never say anything like that to my kids until the first time it came out of my mouth. And it scares you. And for a lot of parents, if you didn't have, you know, the perfect mom and the perfect dad, where do you learn? Where do you learn how to be a good parent? You know, you watch TV, you watch movies, and that takes us to our second myth about parenting that sold us down the river. And that is parenting is so wonderful. You know, I used to watch the TV shows and they would put the kids to bed at night, you know, at 8 o'clock, and they would turn out the lights and the kids would stay in bed. And I had no, I mean, how did that happen? My whole life, I wanted that to happen. I wanted to say, children, time for bed. They'd go to bed and I'd turn out the lights. It never happened in my house. My daughter slept in my bed until she was, I think, 9, no matter what I did. It just never worked the way it did on TV, you know, where the kids are always happy, they're clean, they're healthy. You know, you always have a good job, you always have a car. Parenting is one of the hardest things we ever will do in our life. And I remember a grandma down in Camden, you know, we were doing this parent burnout workshop and she was sitting and listening quietly. And God knows there's a special place for grandmoms who raise their kids. And she looked at all of us as we were complaining about how hard it was with our 3-year-olds, our 6-year-olds, our 8-year-olds. And she said, you know, you guys think it's over when they turn 18. She said, it's never over, never. And, you know, all I could think about back then was, oh, you old, bitter old woman, you know, of course it ends. Of course it gets easier. But now that I'm older and my kids are grown, it never changes. You're going to be a parent the rest of your life. And so through workshops like this, we got to start talking more openly about how hard things are. Because I often find that when one parent complains about their baby crying all night long and not sleeping through the night, instead of us listening and saying, that must be so hard for you, you must be so tired. What we do is we say, oh, you think that's bad? Wait till they turn 9 and they're horrible monsters. You know, we don't support each other very well sometimes as groups of parents. And part of support groups is learning to listen to the pain other people are in, and then sharing maybe what worked for you, a positive thing that they might take out of it. And the last myth that I'm going to talk about is that parenting is not a job, right? Oh, you just stay home with your kids, eat bonbons, watch soap operas, you know, watch Netflix. Well, if anybody put an ad in the paper and they said wanted 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, no sick time, no vacation time, you have to be a chef, you have to be a cook, you have to be a housekeeper, you have to be a laundry person, you have to be a nurse. God knows in the past 2 years, you now suddenly have to be teachers, right? And nobody prepares you for this. You have to be a coach, you have to know sports, you have to learn about video games and texting and sexting and stuff that we never dealt with growing up. So parenting is the toughest job in the world. And so when you're tired at night, when you're having a hard time sleeping, you have to realize, you know, most of us are not only working full-time as a parent, but we're working at other jobs as well, you know, to keep things going for our family and to provide the best possible stuff for our kids. And, you know, part of preventing parent burnout is learning to listen to our friends when they're having a hard time about parenting. You know, there are certain ages that we know, certain stages that we know are really, really hard with kids. And we have to start to be more open, to listen more, and to provide a soft spot to fall. You know, I know as a single parent, one of my hardest things was, you know, at the end of the night, you couldn't say, you put him to bed tonight. You know, you get him up for school in the morning. I'm exhausted. No matter what, you had to do it. So, you know, we want this workshop to be interactive because we believe that all of our voices, we're all experts in different things. And if you want to make a comment, if you want to share, just raise your hand or put your question in the chat, say you'd like to share. And this way, the workshop will be so much better for all of us. All right. Next slide. We're going to talk about burnout now. Doreen, I'm going to turn it over to you.
This is why we are here. We're going to try to prevent parent burnout for all of us. We're going to find out the symptoms so that you're aware of the symptoms moving forward. So today you're going to learn the symptoms of parent burnout. The first symptom we're going to talk about is physical exhaustion. Now, who gets physically exhausted? I mean, who can tell me, give me an example of physical exhaustion? Anybody?
Okay, this is Jane.
Okay.
First of all, out of those 5 kids, 3 of them are special needs kids, mental health issues, autism, and that's in itself at home, trying to deal with that each day at home. But when you have to fight against the district to get your kids I'm always emotional when I have to talk about this. When you have to fight and beg with the district to get your kids the services that they need, that is the most horrifying, draining thing that you could imagine. If you have to keep going down to the district, I'm well known down there. I'm well known at Miss Turner's office, Shirley Turner, because I have to go down there in order to get my kids the services that they need. I have to resort to calling Miss Shirley Turner, and they know me by heart there. I get the same person each year to represent me. Nothing ever changes until I call her office. And that's so exhausting, so unfair, but what you have to deal with already on top of having your special needs children. So right. I don't see how I'm always burned out.
Yeah. And physical exhaustion is when your body says you just can't take anymore. Does anyone else have an example of what they think physical exhaustion looks like or feels like? Andrea.
This is Andrea. Even if you slept 20 hours during the night, you still feel tired during the day.
It's so true. It's so true. It's like there's never enough sleep.
Exactly. Does anybody else have an example of physical exhaustion? Because we really want you to know what it feels like. Okay, Tom, can you just pull in some fly-ins, examples of what it is? Okay. Tom is going to be pulling them in. We have accident prone. You may start to trip, you know. You have muscle tension in your back. Your back begins to ache. Your shoulders ache. You have headaches. You have changes in your weight, your eating habits. You're tired. And someone mentioned this, your inability to sleep. So all of these things are physical exhaustion. So when you are experiencing these things, you realize that you are physically exhausted. Okay, now we're going to go to mental.
Doreen.
Doreen, you ended up muted somehow.
Okay.
There you go.
Amy? Okay, so anyone else would like to give me an example of what they think mental exhaustion is?
Depression.
Oh, depression. Yes, Amy. Depression. Anyone else?
Verbal abuse, like verbally, like you're verbally abusing your children, like snapping at them, get angry, like, always real quick, short tempered for like
Yes.
little things.
Yes, yes. The shortest thing could be the most damaging too. For
When a
mental
child gets an
exhaustion.
88, but you want them to have an A, and then you just snap at them because they're still not, they have missing assignments. That's me.
Okay, Tom, can you fly in some of the mental exhaustion burnout tips that we have? Okay. A negative attitude towards everything. Start to think about that. And ask yourself, do I have a negative attitude towards everything? Because if you do, you can realize then that you are mentally exhausted and maybe you need time out. You just need to slow it down and to regroup. How about feeling incapable of being a good parent? You're so exhausted mentally that you just feel that I'm doing all I could do. What else can I do? You are mentally exhausted and forgetful. You may forget a meeting. You may forget a phone call with a parent, with a teacher. Difficult sleeping. Who has sleepless nights where you just keep waking up? 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, I see Miss Rodriguez nodding her head. When you're mentally exhausted, you have a difficult time resting, because your mind, it just keeps going. And how about you feel like you're defeated by the smallest things? You tell yourself, I just can't do it. I can't do anymore. I'm done. I just can't do it. That's when you know that you are mentally exhausted. We want you to look at these tips, think about these tips, say to yourself, where am I in this burnout? Am I physically exhausted or burnt out? Am I mentally burnt out? Or am I emotionally? Okay, let's look for the
Doreen,
Tom, can you go to the emotional?
Doreen, I just wanted to make a point with forgetfulness. A lot of people think I'm losing my mind because, I forgot this or that, but they've done studies that show the first thing when you are stressed out and exhausted, the first thing to be affected is short-term memory. So when you realize that you forgot the car keys and you're sitting in the car, or, you packed lunch, but you forgot to put the sandwich in, you're not going crazy. It's stress.
Yeah. Okay, now we're going to go to emotional. What is it that you feel when you're emotionally burnt out? Does anybody have an example of that? Does anybody know what that feels like or looks like? Emotionally exhausted, just done.
You might feel unable to express any emotion at all or feel any emotion at all.
Yes, very good, Rich. That's a good one. Anyone else?
For example, when you cry for, I don't know, maybe if someone found his other lost dog, or you cry for the minimal thing.
Exactly.
You cry over TV commercials.
Yeah. Yeah. You cry, people are singing, or you just so full of emotions that you don't know what to do. You can sometimes shut down, or you can just flood the room. And you know what? With the crying for emotional, it's a good thing. They say it's cleansing. So don't be afraid to let some of those emotions out. Don't keep them bottled up inside of you. Let them out. That's one wonderful thing about a support group, because it's non-judgmental and you can actually talk about what you're feeling in a non-judgmental environment where nobody's judging you. And you can just say, look, today I'm so emotionally exhausted. I don't want to talk to nobody. I don't want to do anything. And that's okay. That's okay. So Tom, can you throw in some fly-ins? on what it really looks like. Okay. Spells of crying. We just talked about that. A commercial comes on and you just break down. You just break down. You just start crying. Feeling numb. Has anyone ever felt numb? Yes, no. I know I've felt numb before, where I couldn't do anything. It was just numbing. I couldn't say anything, do anything. No one here has felt numb before?
I can identify with every one of your bullet points on this slide. Yes.
Okay, Miss D, have you felt numb?
Yes, sometimes you get so overwhelmed to where it puts you in that state.
Yes.
And me, myself personally, I am the one to shut down. I'll go to my room and just shut my door and I shut everybody out just to have my downtime.
Yes. Feeling emotionally worn out. When I was a preschool teacher, I had 4 kids. I used to tell my kids, listen, honey, let mommy have a little break, because those 15 kids that I just dealt with for 8 hours, just because I didn't want to transfer those feelings over into my home. So you can be emotionally worn out with frustration. These feelings are real. They are real. Has anyone ever felt just emotionally worn out?
I have on many occasions.
Okay. Yeah.
Miss Gordon put something in the chat.
Okay.
Would
Can
like
you
to
read
share
it for us, Kathy?
It just disappeared. Here we go. Miss Gordon says, how about when you're on edge every day? When the phone rings, you're dreading it's not the school calling you that your son with autism has been aggressive towards another child when you requested that he should be out of the district for everybody's safety. I can relate, Miss Gordon. You know, I just hated when the school called. It was just like, now what? You know, you've tried so hard to make sure everything's fine. And then it's like they torture you. It can be really, really hard.
Right. And spontaneous irritation. Any little thing ticks you off. Any little thing, something that the teacher may say that just irritates you. And it could be something positive, but when you're emotionally burnt out, you react in a different way. You're not your calm self. That can just, okay, Miss Green, I'll talk to him or her about it, but you become irritated. So remember these tips. When you're feeling this, you know that you're emotionally exhausted. Feeling helplessness. Has anybody ever felt helpless? Like I can't do no more. What else am I going to do? No one here has felt helpless?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. When you're going through the changes with schools and they're not giving you what you want, when you want it, you do feel helpless. You know, you do feel like you're waiting for someone else to do something for you or get an answer. You tend to feel a little helpless. Okay, feelings of intense anger followed by guilt. A lot of parents, and even my daughter, sometimes, you know, in that intense anger followed by guilt. If she hears something she don't want to hear, and then she thinks it's her own fault, and she really had nothing to do with it. But you feel guilty. Sometimes we feel guilty if our kid can't get that A or that B. But as a mom of 4, I said, if he bring home a C, and that's the best that he could do, that's going to have to be enough. And so I don't have to feel guilty. This is the best he could do. Sometimes we have to accept where the children are and where we are and not have it followed by guilt.
I think you also have to realize, and you have to sometimes share it with your family and your kids. You know, you have to let them know, you know, mommy is this close to the end. You know, dad, I'm worn out. I had a really terrible day today. So whatever way that you can get that little bit of time, for some moms, it's like, just go to the bathroom alone, just close the door. We run a 24-hour parent helpline that you can call just to talk. And one of the calls I got, I was so scared. This mother, she was like, help me, I'm in the bathroom. I can't take it anymore. I'm going to lose it. And I said, where are your kids? And she said, they're outside the door trying to get in. Can't you hear them? And the little kids were banging on the door trying to get in. And she just needed, 10 minutes to decompress because she didn't trust what she was feeling. And so she shut herself. We talk about putting kids in timeout. Sometimes we need to put ourselves in timeout to give a little bit of a break. When my kids were young, I used to have one TV show a week, and I'd say, this is my show. Okay, it's coming up. I'm telling you, from 8 to 9 o'clock, I need this break. Okay, so you guys have to give me that. So when you're feeling all these different places, you've got to think of, how can I give myself some relief from this exhaustion? Because really, there's nobody that's going to knock on your door and say, hey, I'm here to make everything better. You just got to find a way to say, if I'm this worn out, I'm not good for anybody, not good for the kids, not good for you. And that's why we really push people, call the hotline, talk, come to a support group, share, have 1 hour a week that's yours.
So we really want you to think about these 3 symptoms that are real, that we face every day. It can be the physical exhaustion, the mental exhaustion, and emotional. And just take a few minutes and say, well, where am I? How am I feeling? Take that 5 minutes to regroup, to breathe, just so that you don't go into an exhaustion period or a depression that you can't get out of. Because we know it goes from anxiety, you can have depression, you can have bipolar, it's an array of things. So when you're getting exhausted, know the signs, because once you know the signs, that will give you time to say, okay, I just need a moment. I just need a moment to debrief and regroup and think about what just happened. Or before anything happens, time, give yourself some time, even before you react to a phone call, to a teacher, give yourself some time and just say, well, can I call you back? So that if you're on a 10, you want to at least go back down to a 3 before you react. Okay, so these symptoms of burnout are real, and we want you to think about them after today. Okay, so now we're going to jump into understanding the process of change.
Yeah, we wouldn't set you up talking about how hard it is to be parents and how hard, how we get burned out without giving you some ideas to make things better. And, I've taught parenting classes forever. They're usually pretty out there. You go home and you have to learn active listening. So when your kid's having a tantrum and melting down in the corner, you say, oh, Johnny, you seem really, really upset and mad right now. Well, sometimes that doesn't stop the temper tantrum and the craziness. And so I found this little tiny book called Confident Parenting. And it's one of the best books I've ever found because it just gives you some really clear techniques to use. And I'm going to go through the techniques, and then we're going to give you a chance to try it yourself. Okay. So the first technique is that the first thing, you can't handle everything at once. Miss D, when you have Miss Gordon, when you have 5 kids, you can't handle all your problems and all the kids' problems at one time, right? It's too overwhelming. So what confident parenting says is identify the one thing right now, that's driving you crazy with one of your kids. It might be something that, more than one of your kids are doing, like bedtime. I can't tell you how bedtime statewide, when you talk to parents, that is one of the number one issues, getting the kids to go to bed and stay in bed, or their teenagers, getting them out of bed in the morning. So the first thing we have to do is, Tom, can you fly in the first technique? Is you identify the problem, okay? And you have to be clear about what you want to do about that problem. So for an example, let's stay with bedtime. You want the kids to be in bed by 9 o'clock, okay? Because bedtime is as much for them as it is for you. Because when those kids make their own bedtimes and they're up all hours, you don't get any break. So for me, I decided, okay, I have to have her go to bed by 9 o'clock. It has to happen, okay? And make sure that you're clear that that's the change you need. Next technique, Tom. Make a plan. As parents, we do this all the time, right? We just, we know bedtime happens every night, but it's like, oh my God, not again, not again. They can't go to bed. Not again. They're hungry. Not again. And we just react, right? We don't tackle the problem. Is anybody dealing with that right now, where you got to do something about a problem, but you just kind of don't have the energy to address it? Has anybody dealt with that?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
It's like you're your own worst enemy, because, as soon as you feel that, oh my God, here we go again. Oh my God, they're having the tantrum again. The tantrum's coming, but you just don't have the energy to address it. So now you got to be smart. You got to outsmart the kids. You're going to make a plan. Now, when you make a plan, what's the most important thing to do next? It's to find support. Tell other people about your plan. If you have a significant other, say, you know what? Starting next week, we are going to put the kids down at 9 o'clock. Tell your mother, tell your neighbor. When you tell other people, it's sort of like when you say you're going to go on a diet. If you just tell yourself, I'm going to go on a diet, and nobody knows, then the next meal, when you decide you're not going to go on a diet, it's no big deal. But when you've told people, when you've shared it, then it's like, oh God, now I've got to do it. And so it helps you, it builds your support system. And that's what we're all about. Don't think you can change a problem with your kids without having a support system. Say, hey, how's it going? Did you get them in bed last night? Okay, maybe it didn't work tonight. You can do it tomorrow night. I know you can, but just get that support. The next thing about kids is they want to make you crazy, okay? But remaining calm and confident. There's nothing they hate worse than when they can't push your buttons. It drives them crazy. And I always like to warn the kids about a change that's coming. I think it's only fair. As a boss, I warn my staff, hey, you know what, guys? Starting next week, we're all coming in on time. I'm going to warn you now, give you 5 days to think about it, but on Monday, that change is going to happen. When you do something that's going to change the way your family interacts, the way a rule becomes, when you start a new rule, you need to give them notice. So, Tom, fly in the next two. These are two phrases that I like to give parents to use, okay? The rule is, hey, I'm sorry, the rule is you go to bed at 9 o'clock. I don't like rules. I know you don't like rules, but I can't change the rules. It's the rule. You go to bed at 9 o'clock, or your job is. Sometimes I hate my job. Sometimes I don't want to do my job. But you know what? If you say, you know what, the kids have to help out more and they need to have a chore and they're going to take out the garbage every day, you can say, honey, I know you don't want to take out the garbage, but it's your job. And starting on Monday is going to be your job every day. And it's okay if you don't like your job. I don't like my job, but I got a lot of stuff I got to do too. So using these two phrases takes it out of that power struggle between I said, because I'm your mother. I don't know about you guys, but did anybody ever have a mom or dad that gave them a look that meant stop it immediately? Anybody?
Sure bet.
Yes.
And have you tried using that same look on your kids?
Mm-hmm.
Does it work?
For me, yes, it does. My daughter, she's scared of lashes, so I may just have to give her a look.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she's like in a corner, or do what she got to do. And if the brother's not jaded, you better get it done. You know, mommy's gonna clap you. You see mommy face? But he is more of the push button ones, like, you know, you just gotta take 10 steps back and then go again when it comes to him.
And you know, you can have 4 kids, 5 kids, and what works for one kid may not work for other kids. I used to have a kid that I could give that look to and they stopped. I had another one that would laugh at me when they gave him that look. I had a daughter that said to me she was going to call DIFUS on me, and I worked for DIFUS at the time. You know, I mean, sometimes what worked for our parents doesn't work for us. So I want you to think about identifying a problem, making a plan, okay? And then you're going to say the rule is or your job is. So what we're going to do is we're going to put you in groups of 2. I want each person, Tom, next slide. Next slide. I want you to pick one issue with your child that's currently driving you crazy. Just pick one of your kids. Decide what is the change you're going to make, okay? What is that change? The next is how would you warn them that the change is coming? And who will you tell to be your support system? Oh, Miss Carol, you have your hand up. Question?
She actually wrote a little something in the chat.
You
She
want to read
says
it?
sometimes it's really hard to find a support system when you have children with special needs.
Oh, God, yes.
They just don't want to risk anything happening in their care.
It's so true. It's so true. You know, learning disabilities, special needs, and the best thing you can do is find other parents that share that, you know, because nobody knows what it's like to deal with child study teams, to deal with pediatricians, with medication. There are so many things that are different, and so many things that are the same, but you have to find people that have kind of traveled that path, and we can help you connect with some of that as well. And finally, so you're going to warn the kids the change is coming, and then I want you to be able to say what's going to be the new rule in your house after this workshop, or the new job you're going to give one of your kids after this workshop. So again, we're going to put you with a partner, and we're going to give you about 5 to 7 minutes. Each one of you talk about what you're going to do, what change you're going to make, how you're going to warn them, and what your new technique is going to be, what the new job or new rule is. Tom, can you put people into small groups? If anybody has any questions during the exercise, just hit your hand raise thing and we'll jump in.
Okay, everyone's invited to join the breakout rooms.
Good morning.
Your internet is a little shaky.
Yeah,
Mr. Tree.
yeah, I
You may
could barely
want to
hear
turn
him.
off your video so that you can come in more clear.
Oh, okay.
Miss Gordon, I remember you.
Is that better?
Can you hear me? I don't know if my internet is off.
I can hear you.
Okay.
I can hear you. Can you hear me? Is it better? Is it
It's
better
better.
now?
It's better. All right. So what's our homework assignment? We have to pick
Good, good, yeah.
one challenge.
What drives us crazy?
Yes. What drives you crazy?
For me, it's this sleeping time.
Mm.
My son, he ain't got no time to sleep. You can turn off all the lights, like give him bath. I try everything they tell me to do, but he still don't have no time to go to bed.
They don't want to go to bed. They want to play games all night.
And
My
then it's
son
not
wants to
only
play.
about playing games. It's like even it's all the lights are off. You're next to him, he just want to say his number song. Start to count from 1 to 100. He's only 3 years old. I know he's special, but it still doesn't want to
3-year-old.
go to sleep.
Yes, I have an 11-year-old, 11th grader, 17-year-old. He wants to stay up all night and play games, and then doesn't want to get up in the morning. Doesn't want to take the trash out. Not that he doesn't want to, but he's kind of like, you know, Dad will do it, Mom will do it.
Yeah, my daughter, she doesn't give me too much of a hard time because we've established a routine since she was the age that you're describing, 3 years old. Well, even before then. So I give her that freedom that after she's done all of her chores, she's done her homework, then I give her space to have, you know, her game time or talk to her girlfriends on the phone. And then she knows when mommy says, Mia, it's time to brush your teeth and go to bed. Okay, mommy, because before it would be like, oh, but why, blah, blah. And, you know, what I would do is I would, you know, just reinforce why it was so important for her to get enough sleep so that she could be her best self in the morning for school. And it took a while because she definitely challenged me a lot at that age. So what I found was because she definitely had some anxiety when she was younger. So what I did was I would try to find something that would self-soothe her, whether it was a soft blanket or at one point, and I think it may be good for you, there was this turtle that does vibrations so that when she will hug the toy, it would help to massage her chest, and it was still soft. It wasn't too hard. And they have, I don't know what disability your child has, but those kinds, if you do research on those kinds of toys for nighttime, also, you know, what works better for your child? Is it bath time at night or bath time in the morning? I have to do bath time. I have to make sure that she takes a shower in the morning so that she's up and alert and ready and not moping around. Hold on one second. So that's.
Oh, okay. So are you finding some tips, Farrah?
Yes, I try everything. I keep watching video on YouTube, listening to parents. It's like, even the school, give me a heavy blanket for the kids. They told me he works at school, he take nap at school, but home is a different, baby, he don't take no nap. It's like, doesn't want to go to sleep. He's always on learning mode. He can be sleeping for 5 minutes and then you wake up like, where is letter K? Kangaroo.
Are you taking him a bath at night?
Yes.
Does he like soft music in the room?
No. He got some type of music he likes, but when you put music, you want to sing, you're still going to be awake.
You know what I found hard? Holding on to whatever that issue was that I wanted to do, because you have to do it for at least 6 weeks for it to become a part of your daily routine. So, you know, they look to see if you're going to skip it tonight. So just holding on to whatever that thing was for at least 6 weeks to see the result of change. That's the part. That's the hardest, I think.
Me, after 3 weeks, I say, okay, it doesn't work. Let me try something else. I keep changing it. It's like, I don't know what works. And I'm an Amazon worker. It's like you've been all day on your feet, like for 10 hours. And then we get home, you make him ready, like feed him, make him ready to sleep, wash his teeth. We ain't got no word for that. And then, okay, go brush your teeth. He's willing to do it. But when it's nighttime, you put the pajama. Like, let's play now. Let's go look for number 1. And then it start to count. Let's go look for letter M. M is for mommy. M is for Moshe. And then it's fresh again.
What was the other question, Doreen? I can't remember now. Can't hear you.
How are you going to set up the rule and kind of stick to the rule, or a job? What job are you going to change? This change takes at least 6 weeks, 6 consecutive weeks. And we as parents, that's where by the 3rd week, we're ready to throw our hands up. But it takes about 6 weeks for anything to really happen. I think that's the hardest part of being consistent every day on top of everything else you got to deal with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I've heard parents share that they have like a positive reward system for their child. So they know that, you know, if they're following the rules or they go to bed at a certain time, that, you know, they can get a toy at the end of the week, or candy, or their special meal time, or maybe they can eat, if you don't have the means for that, maybe it's they get to pick what they are going to eat for dinner or for breakfast. So those are some ideas that I've heard that have worked for other parents.
For my son, he's really picky about food. You cannot play that game with him. He's only 3. When he's really hungry, we'll ask for noodle. That's all he asks, or some cookie or apple juice. Doesn't really eat that much. It's like, for the toys, if you don't give him what he wants, he's gonna start rolling on the floor. It's like, you want it, you want it, you want it. And if you want a break, just, I don't know, just give it to him so he can have some peace.
Yeah, it's not easy. It's not easy at all. But in the end, you got to look at the long term. Once you get them there, then they'll stay there.
Exactly. I'm asking myself, it's only 1. That's me.
Or
I'm listening to those
also
parents. I got
thinking of-
4, 5. I
Yeah.
said, okay, I don't have time to complain about my case. It's like, it's only 1 kid. I have to do better. But I keep telling myself that. It's like,
maybe physical, looking at his physical activity for the day, like is he exerting enough energy in order for him to feel, you say,
keep running around. It's like he's always full of energy. That's why I don't give him no juice. He liked the orange, but for the juice, I don't give him no juice. That's why in school I said, don't give him no juice. Don't give him no juice, because he's always full of energy. Never get tired for some reason.
any recommendations from the pediatrician? Have you taken him to the pediatrician?
Yes, they want me to give him the melatonin. I say, I don't want to start now because it's only 3. When he get into the melatonin stuff, he's gonna stay. That's why I say, I know it's hard for me to sleep, but I'm still gonna wait until it changes something. I don't want to start with the.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, hopefully I'm not. I know that for adults, they have like melatonin. It's like a vitamin. So I'm wondering if they have that for children that's safe. It's over the counter. It's like a vitamin. So maybe looking into that.
Yes, they have it. I just choose to not give it to him right now. I say it's too young. They say, okay. So they give me the choice, but I don't want to start with the melatonin yet. I keep dealing with the blanket and then the calming song. And then, you know, sometimes you just go to sleep. By night, just run out and say, sleep. And then it goes sleep. And then until tomorrow morning, like wake up at 7. But when that's happened, it's not because of me. It's him chose to sleep.
Mm. How about you, Mr. Trueheart? Anything else? Problem?
Well, yeah, for my son, I tell him no more allowance, and that changes his whole routine. So he likes to buy things and play games, and of course, do his schoolwork. But when I say allowance, that piques his interest because it's about money. And so that's kind of the warning, and the new rule is if you don't get this work done, your allowance is cut. So, there's some incentives there. He's older now, so he's in 11th grade. He's a good student. But I think sometimes he gets a little lazy at times, and I have to put him in check or put him in checkmate. But he makes the right decisions. And when you tell him, gives me a little bit of AT every now in the morning when I tell him take the garbage out. And I say, that's your job, not my job. That's not my job, that's your job. If you need help with it, let me know, but that is your job. And then he kind of, okay, you're right, Dad. So teaching him to be responsible and chores, make his bed up, clean his room, clean his bathroom, take the trash out, take the recycling out. And then for the reward, you get it all out. So, and you get you're more responsible for your own life. And when he has his own apartment or he's in college, when he's in college, and he'll know how to do those things.
For sure.
My young children days are all over. I've had those experiences, but my young children days, my wife has infants and toddlers in the house. She takes care of.
That does kind of work sometimes. But I do like to let them know in advance that rules are coming down that need to be followed. Now, am I excellent at following through all the time on that stuff? No, but that's where I need to go. All right, I think we're being, all right.
We're just getting everybody back out of their small groups so that we can talk about what we're going to do differently as parents.
Okay, can I go first, or like you gotta be in a group?
Just wait, just give us a little bit of time because I want everybody to be back in the room so that everybody can hear what we have to share.
Yeah, you're
Okay?
right. Okay.
All right, Rita, do you want to start and share what you talked about?
Sure. So I talked about my kids sleeping by herself, or both of them sleeping by themselves in the room. Because I just feel like sometimes like I need my own personal space and time to rethink and refocus. And sometimes they don't understand. I just think because we're sleeping together for the couple years, like it's just continue. And I just feel like I just gotta sit them down and talk to them and try to figure out how can I let them sleep by themselves and what's bothering them, why they need to be sleeping by themselves. I think that should be a conversation we to have. And maybe getting like a night light or something so they can feel safe in their room. I think that's the next step for me.
Well, I think you've come up with something that every parent, most parents really do struggle with. And it's like the best kept secret in parenting is kids sleeping with their parents. And so if you think about the steps we were taking, you want to give them warning. You don't want to just have them come home from school today and say, okay, you're not sleeping with me tonight.
Yeah.
Okay, starting, let's talk about getting, a favorite toy, a nightlight, whatever, but starting Monday, everybody sleeps in their own bed, and maybe you don't do 5 nights a week, maybe you start it 2 nights a week.
Okay, so just take it slowly. Don't just rush it.
Yeah, but if you let them know that and then give them a lot of positive reinforcement once that change has happened. And yeah, I think you're going to be great. We're going to talk about how to keep this change in place because it's important. Does anybody else want to share what they talked about in their small groups?
Yeah, this is Jane.
Go for it, Jane.
My situation is a little different. My child is almost 8 years old. He has autism. He still sleeps in my room for safety reasons.
Right.
I live in a townhouse. He would be on another floor. He does not sleep. He's medicated. He takes medicine daily, but he does not sleep. He keeps everybody else up all night. If we let him stay, if I didn't give him melatonin, he would be up from one night to the next, 7 o'clock in the morning. I didn't give him the melatonin one night. He stayed up all night. It was 7 o'clock the next morning, had to go to school.
Oh.
So my issue is a little bit different.
Yeah.
How do you explain to a child that brain does not process, okay, it's time to go to sleep, you have to stay in bed? How do you, I'm not sure, how do you do that? How do you do that? I struggle with that. And he keeps everybody else up, not only my other kids, but he keeps me up too, because I don't go to sleep until he's asleep because of safety reasons. Safety, it's a safety issue.
Yeah.
First of all, it's a safety issue. I don't want him going out of the house. I don't want him doing anything with the stove or anything while we're asleep.
Yeah.
So it's hard for me to get a sound night's sleep.
Yep. And you know, if you had a support group of parents that had children with autism, I think that they would be able to share with you some of the things that have worked for them. You know, you have to think about it like when you look at daycare, not all kids take naps, but they're required to be quiet and lay on their cots. You know, so you can't force somebody to go to sleep, but you can say after a certain time that this is your quiet time. I know that when my daughter used to sleep in bed with me, she'd want to watch, you know, Nick at Night. Well, it was adult time after 9 o'clock. So no, you know, I would put on the most boring news program that could be on the television because that's adult time. And sorry, you know, you don't get that anymore. We're not going to watch cartoons until you fall asleep. So Jane, you've got to really talk to, you know, we've got to hook you up with some other parents that are dealing with autism and the different things that are very special to that. Because if you crash, Miss Gordon, who's going to be there for your kids? You've got to be able to sleep too, you know, and you need that support. It's hard. It's the hardest thing ever. I feel your pain.
Yeah. I agree that she really needs to hook in with that support of other parents who are dealing with the same things, because there's different toys, there's different things, tips that she might have not tried yet that, you know, someone else could give her to help. It's all that trial and error, but being
What
with
about
other
something like
parents, Miss
books on
J,
tape?
that
I'm sorry.
understand what you're going through, would really be a good support.
Rich,
So-
Rich, you had a suggestion? Do any
I
other
just had
parents
an
want to jump in
idea.
here?
What about something like books on tape and headphones? You know, have a book going and reading to them and getting acclimated to that quiet night bedtime. I don't have any idea if something like that would work, but it did occur to me. And it might, you know, books can really do magic. That's all.
Yeah, he's a child that's overly aggressive. So the medication is supposed to bring him down a little bit. But first of all, we'll talk to the specialist again, because maybe it needs to be elevated.
Yeah.
And you know, that's my fear at school. Those kids at school have a right, those parents have a right to a safe environment for their kids that's going to school. And my biggest fear is that he has assaulted a child. He wasn't even in school for a week, and he assaulted somebody else's child. And that I do not want. If I was a parent, I would say, hey, what's going on?
Yeah.
So
that's a lot of pressure to be under. A lot of pressure.
Again, I'm still saying, and I'm sticking to it, and I'm my child's biggest advocate. He does not belong in the public school district. He does not.
Miss Jane, I have a question. Did you ever think about the school? Because my neighbor had a child like that at the Mercer County by Mercer County College, that school, the Mercer County College for kids like that.
Yeah, the special services district.
Well,
school.
Here's the thing. I have to go through the school district. It took me 2 years to get my daughter into Hampton Academy. Now she's doing beautifully. So all those years that I was trying to get her out of district, I was doing an injustice of she didn't learn anything. And I felt crappy because I couldn't do anything to get her out sooner. And here I am doing the same thing to my other child.
And sadly, what happens in school systems is sometimes you get labeled as that troublemaker. You know, they see you coming. I used to swear that they would lock the doors when they saw me coming because they knew it was going to be trouble. And it's hard. It's very hard that way.
Well, I'm my child's biggest advocate. And if I don't see things are getting done through the district, I am going to call Shirley Turner's office again, like I always do. And then let them intervene again, because it's just not right. It's just not right. I'm not going to sit here day by day and cross my fingers and grit my teeth that my child is not going to assault his teacher or another child.
No, you know what? And what you're learning through this process, it's going to be so valuable for you to be able to share that with other parents that are just starting this journey. You've been there, you've learned to handle some of this. And so, you know, we want to put those supports in place. Does anybody else have anything they'd like to share from their talk about changing something in their family?
You just have to be consistent and not give up, and just show your child that, you know, you're serious, and actually give them the, you know, I think certain reasons. I'm kind of the way, like, where I'm like, well, because I'm your mom and I told you so, where I need to learn to say, well, A, B, and C, you know, if you do this or you don't do this, this is the results of what, you know, not so much a punishment, but as a, not as a current, you know, not as a, like, a punishment, like, or a, I don't know, I'm so bad with words, but just for example, like you say, if you don't do well in school, you're going to fail and not be able to go to the next grade. So if you do this, and that's your job, to get good grades so that you can move on.
Right.
And just realize you have these goals. You want to be A, B, and C, but you can't be A, B, and C if you don't do D, E, and F. You know, that's my whole thing. Right. And just be consistent. And I guess different behaviors, I mean, and every age is totally different, you know, with certain things, you know, like, and every child is different. So every child is not the same. So what works for me may not work for another child.
Right.
You know, so.
And that's a really important piece too, is because as we share ideas, what worked for you and your kids may not work for somebody else. But if you can be in a support group together and say, this is what I did, you're not saying, oh, you know, I'm going to solve your problem for you. Here, do this, this, and this. No, you share, this is what I did and this worked for me. And if people in the group think that that might work for them, they'll take that home and try it. But when you're talking about making a change with kids, I like to use these slides to talk about the process of change, because if you understand it, it makes it easier. You know, when we first started out, we said, identify a problem, right? That's the status quo. That's what you live every day when you get up. You do the same things, you maybe make the same mistakes, you have the same frustrations. Then you put your support system into place and you say, I'm going to make this change, right? In our small groups, we talked about warning the kids. Change is coming, okay? It's going to start on Monday. Then you actually make that change. Monday comes and now you use words like the rule is, you know, your job is. There are consequences to every behavior. Can I have the next slide, Tom? What happens after that is chaos. You know, we always say that if you say you're going to bed at 8 o'clock and they scream and cry and yell and keep running down the steps and wear you down, you go right back to the beginning. Takes you right back to the beginning of this cycle. You have two choices. You can give up, then the same behavior is going to continue to happen except it will be worse because once kids know that they break you, it gives them like power. It's like, you know, like a superpower. Oh, we know she says this, but she doesn't really mean it. We know he tells me, you know, to do this, but he doesn't, he's not going to, you know, it won't, by tomorrow he'll forget. So if you really decide to make a change, you have to hang on to that. They say any change that you decide to make in life, think about all the New Year's resolutions you make. Okay, you know what? I'm going to exercise every day, right? Well, if you give up, it makes it twice as hard to say, okay, now I'm going to start a new exercise program. If you can exercise every day for 6 weeks, takes 6 weeks for something to become a habit, right? If you can hang in there and keep your support system going, then real change happens. And then you look back and you say, oh my God, I can't believe that, you know, I used to have them sleep in bed with me 5 nights, 7 nights a week. How did I survive that? Because you finally realized I can make that change. And then you have, I like to say, then you have no more problems left, but then new problems come up. But you have to decide what right now is sucking the life from you and what you can do to make it change without being a terrible, screaming, crazy parent, but by just saying, you know, I have to do something different. And most of us have to be pushed pretty far before we do that. And that's okay. Again, that's why we're in business. That's why we have a 24-hour parent helpline. That's why we do support groups. So, you know, think about what you talked about today. Think about who can be your informal support system right now and who can connect you up with some people that might help you do some other stuff too. Ms. Finley, I'm going to turn it over to you now.
Okay, Tom, can we go to self-care techniques? Now, this is the part we've learned a lot about burnout systems, change, how we can deal with things, being non-judgmental, being a better listener. But now we want you to build in some self-care techniques for yourself. You have to build them in. If you don't build them in, they won't get done. So what I want you to do is just think for a moment about something that you could do for yourself, that you could care, something that's going to advance your self-care. Something that you could do that you like, that can just relieve some of your stress. You have to think about these self-care techniques, because if you don't think about them, no one else will. You have to learn to build them in to your routines, to your daily schedules, and it's just like any other behavior. You have to continue to do it for at least 6 weeks so you can see the difference. So I'm going to call on you and ask you, what self-care technique can you put in place starting today? Something I want you to think about that you could do today to start this process. Okay? Okay, Ms. D, what self-care techniques can you put in today?
I'll take a few minutes for downtime to relieve some stress when I'm going through a rough day.
Yes. That's great. You have to do it. You know that you're having a hard day, a hard time, things are not going right. You have to jump into your self-care technique so that you can save yourself for the rest of the day, for the rest of the week, or you can just burn out. So I want you to think about it. I'm going to call on you and tell me something that you could do for yourself to help you to relieve some stress and burnout. Tanisha?
Yes, I will second what Ms. Z said. You do need some like me time and some outside time. Take that breath of fresh air to rejuvenate all over again.
Okay, that 5 minutes, even if it's 5 or 10 minutes, stand up, walk away, and regroup before you begin on to something else, because you still have that pressure, that stress, that exhaustion. You have to learn to relieve it. Okay, Ms. Gordon, what are you gonna do for your self-care technique?
Listen, I'm going to try to stop thinking about what's going to happen and it hasn't happened.
Oh, that's a good one. That's an excellent one, because we all tend to do that naturally. We think this is going to happen. The worst thing can happen, and it didn't even happen yet.
I said, I'm going to try now. I'm going to try hard.
Try, yeah, and try it with something small. Start small. But we tend to do that naturally, to think of the most worst outcome it could be, instead of thinking, oh, wait, maybe this will go right today. Trying to put a positive hit on it. Say, well, maybe, it won't be as bad as I thought. Instead of getting in our heads, we all do it. We get in our head. So using your self-care techniques, that helps you to get out of your head and get into a positive state so that you can do something that relieves stress. Okay, Andrea, what are you going to do as a self-care technique?
Well, when I don't know how to handle my stress, my kids and my family and other issues, I always pray.
Okay.
And this made me think God is always in control. He's still in control. No matter what happened in our life, He gives that peace and wisdom to continue. And after that, I eat a chocolate. One of my favorite chocolates. I love Hershey's, but I keep it in this secret place. Even my kid doesn't know where I keep the chocolate. Mm-hmm. And I really enjoy eat my chocolate. And I take 50 minutes, walk to the park with my chihuahuas. And after that, I feel better. I feel relaxed, and I feel good after that.
Great. That's a good thing. Anything that can bring you woosah down and relieve some of that stress, quiet your mind, because it's the mind that is the big target. The mind, it goes on and on and on. And you have to learn to shut it down, to just get quiet. If that means just getting still, get the light out, put the lights out, and just relax. You have to do self-care. Okay, Rich, what do you do for self-care?
Well, yes, getting outside of your head and away from your own bad thought patterns is critical. I usually go outside and work outside, and that really helps dramatically. In the dead of winter, though, it's way too cold, and I do not go outside. So I'm stuck here in my own thoughts in the house in the dark. Mm-hmm. So I have to think of other ways, and deep breathing is something that my lady friend has been teaching me about over the many years we've been together, and I try to work on that, and it really does help to calm one down by doing these deep breathing exercises. I'd love to say I do yoga and exercise regularly and all that stuff, but I don't. I go outside and I commune with Mother Nature. I'm lucky enough to live across the street from the Delaware River, so I can go there and find some peace pretty easily. Right, it's just too cold right now.
Right. But those are some wonderful ideas, and they're all free. You can go outside, you can get a little sunshine, you can take a little brisk walk. There's a lot of things that you could do, and water is very soothing.
Yeah, the sunshine and a body of water, and you're going to feel better in minutes.
Right. Okay, great, Rich. Miss Rodriguez, what will you do for self-care?
Me personally, music helps calm me down. But also, we all talking about mentally self-care. But how about physical? Most of us manage to not get up in the morning, do our hair or sometimes, me personally, I'll have that day where, I don't care how I look, but it has a lot of parts in your self-care as well. Because if you can't bring yourself up, who is? But music definitely helps me a lot and relaxes me.
Great. And self-care helps you to not get too far deep into whatever it is. If we're kind of using these little techniques, it would help us to not fall too deep, or at least you're recognizing it. Now, now after this workshop, what physical exhaustion looks like, mental exhaustion looks like, and emotional. So now you should be able to say to yourself when you're getting stressed out, or if it's too much, time out. I need to take 5 minutes and just kind of woosah myself down, bring myself back down, use a technique, and then go back into your day. Okay. Amy, what are you going to use for self-care?
I do the same thing. Like Rich said, I go outside. So I take a ride, and I actually go to the beach, and I actually, even though it's maybe an hour away sometimes, and I just like winter or summer, spring, I just all year round, if I need that time away, I just go to the beach and just sit there and just think for a while. And then I drive back home. In the past, when I financially was able to, I would make sure home was taken care of, pack a bag, and I would just get on any type of flight and just go away for overnight or weekends, and then just to get away. And then I would come back and it would all start over again. But or a good thing is too, like how the other lady said about physically going to the gym. Like when I'm stressed out, unfortunately where I live, I have a gym, down the hall from me. So I get on the treadmill, put my headphones on, and I just run. Right. I just run, get on the bike, and I just run. And then that's how I do it. I mean, meditation, I'm learning, but it's very hard for me to meditate because I'm always still in my head. So if I have that distraction of something else, then that's what I can do for self-care. But the ocean, going on a trip or going to the gym, it works for me.
Great. And if you can't get to the gym, what I do in the morning, I just do like a run in place. I might do 50 run in place, just running in place, and then I might do some squats, just to, before I get into my environment, I'm good. I ran, I got my cardiac going. So I don't go to the gym, but I do use my home as a place to do that physical, to get that stress out. I got a little yoga mat, I lay down there, and just to do self-care. And that's my self-care for me.
A good investment too, is to, if anybody, a punching bag, to get a punching bag. I do have one of them when I had my house. And that's what we used to do with our kids when they used to misbehave or they have an attitude or something like that. We would make them go hit the bag. And that actually, I used to do kickboxing, but financially, it got expensive. So I would come home and I would just kick the bag. Like a big investment, that's a great stress reliever, like a positive stress reliever. Just hit the bag a couple times, kick the bag, and whatever, scream, holler, whatever you have to do, but it helps for me anyway. But it's a good investment and it's not expensive, it works.
Right. Okay, Rita, what are you going to put in place for your self-care?
I would say just go to the gym and just try to work out and just forget about what's happening at home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. If you can go to the gym and just work out for a few minutes, if you can put that into your schedule, good. I always say I'm going to do it, but I don't. So that's why I always revert back to my running in place and my squats, because I know that I could do that. But if you could go to the gym, a gym is a wonderful place to just regroup and take care of you. Okay, Kenyatta, what are you going to do for self-care? Okay, what about D. Carroll? Okay, D. Carroll said meditate. meditate and reflect on days and positives. Right, that's another good thing that you could do. Reflect on something positive, to say, think of something positive. What I used to do with young kids was, I was a Head Start teacher. I loved it. And we used to sit and I used to have them to meditate, to close their eyes and just think about a special place. I used to say, okay, let's pretend we're on the beach. Okay, we're all on the beach, your eyes are closed. This don't cost you nothing. And then, can you hear the waves? I hear the waves. I hear the waves hitting against the rocks, just to get yourself out the place you are, and so that your mind can enter in to a place of peace. That is so important. It's so important. So Tom, can you just give us some techniques? Can you fly in some for us? Now, these are some other things that you could do. Some of the things we mentioned. Okay. We did mention, no one really said a hot bath or a shower. That's a good one. And that's free too. A nice hot bath or a shower. We said exercise, visa therapy. I mean, if we have a therapist or, we have someone to talk to. How about a short nap? You have time to just power down for a short nap, close your eyes for a few minutes. Watch a TV show just for you. Something that you like. It's all about you when you're doing self-care. How about call a friend and talk about something good? Okay, you call a friend, talk about something good. How about making a nice cup of tea? Maybe a cup of herbal tea, peppermint tea, green tea. So just something hot and soothing. Start laughing if it makes you feel better and it scares your children. And the other thing I love about support groups, Mr. Trueheart said roller skating. That's a good one. That's a good one, roller skating. Reading a book, that's another one. Reading a book, reading a magazine. Great, those are all good. Okay, let me see, we have one more. Read a book, roller skate, and pray if you're religious, Just get that quiet space. What I love about the support groups that we're trying to build in is something that we have called mindfulness. We include that in the support groups, where that you could just sit quietly and maybe the facilitator or put on some soothing music or say things that do make you laugh in your group, to just be mindful of yourself. And I mean, the laughing is really good. And sometimes we send to the groups the person we have that does laugh yoga. So she comes in and she just makes you laugh. So these are different things that you can put into your support groups. These are the things we want to put into your support group. We do have a day called a stress-free day, and we use that in one of the groups that is most stressed out, that, the parents are really struggling, having a hard time. Once a year, we provide a stress-free day in the support group where you come and we might have a hand massage person come and do your hands, or we may have someone come to do your feet, give you different techniques on how to reduce stress. So that's important. That's an important part in the support groups. The support groups are about self-care because we're engaged in all of this other stuff all week long, all day long. So we got to take that little bit of time in your support group, which may be 1 hour per week, where you can just get with some other parents and deal with some things on a positive note. You can relieve some stress by telling them what you're going through. It's non-judgmental. The groups are non-judgmental and they're confidential. Whatever you say in the group, like we started here, it stays in the group. So those are some of the important benefits of the support groups. Tom, can you go to the next slide about helping resources? that Parents Inc. provides. If you could just fly them in, please. Okay. Now, the support groups are free. They're free groups in person or virtual. With the pandemic going on, most of them today are virtual because we all want to play it safe. We all want to stay as safe as possible. But we have a 24-hour parent hotline. It's called 1-800-THE-KIDS. This is a number when you're stressed out. This is a number you can call to vent. You can call just to vent. Say, I'm having a hard time with whatever, teachers, you know, husbands, children. It's a place that's confidential where you can just vent, you know. You not only can vent, but you can also get support. Say if you need to find out where food is. I know some of these things that the school system does supplies, but these are just some other things that you can also add to your list. The 24 hotline has different resources, housing, food banks, all sorts of things. They may have a number where if you're having trouble with your PSENG bills, so they just have, it's a resource guide that is really thick. It's about this thick, and it has resources statewide. So say if you're going to move, and you want to find out what's going on in that new neighborhood, you can call and ask some questions, and they can tell you the different services in that area. We also have informal support, which is your friends, your teachers, and your faith leaders, especially your teachers. We have to build relationships with our schools and teachers. Even though it gets hard sometimes, it's rough, there's still a support. If your kids go there every day, you have to find some kind of informal support with them. You know, I'm telling you, I have 4 kids, so it was difficult. Most of the teachers wanted my kids to all be like the little quiet one, but no, the other one is not quiet. She jumps around, she moves around. So I had to form relationships with teachers. That's important. I can go to any one of my kids' kindergarten teachers right today, 30-something years later, and ask for some things, you know, information or something. So having those informal supports is important. And we have the Family Support Organization. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but it's for behavioral health. They can give you some tips on where to go. We have the Family Success Centers in the city of Trenton that can help you with a variety of things, workshops. You never know what they're doing. So to just get hooked up in with these different organizations and resources helps you to become a better parent. It helps you to woosah. You're not always so stressed out because you have someone you can call and see what kind of support that you can gain from having these resources available. Tom, can you go to the next slide, please?
Is the hotline anonymous?
Yes, it is anonymous. It is. You could say your name is Jane Doe. You could say your name is Judy Poe, and they will listen to you. They may ask you a question like, where are you calling from? You know, and you're going to get that information if you're looking for resources. But if you just want to vent, say, I'm here to vent. I got an issue today and I just need someone to listen to me. And maybe you could call that line and then go pick up the child from school. You'll feel much better because you have released that. We just want to tell you a little bit about the upcoming workshops we have. This one is Preventing Parent Burnout. We're going to do this in Spanish on Thursday, this Thursday. So if you know someone that speaks Spanish that would like to join, please let them know, let Ms. Brenda know so that they could get hooked up in the workshop on Thursday. How to advocate for your kids, 101, the very basics. We're going to be doing that on next Tuesday in English. We're going to talk about how you advocate, how we build relationships with school teachers, with our children's pediatricians, with the court system, with anyone. We want to learn how to advocate in a positive way that would help us and not hurt us and not frustrate us. Okay, so that's next Tuesday. And the last workshop is going to be how to facilitate a Parents Inc. support group. Now, if the support group looks something like what we've done today, we talk about how we are feeling, it's non-judgmental, and whatever you say in the support group stays in the support group. So our goal is to build these support groups into the Trenton school system so you can have a place to go, to relieve some stress, to relieve some anger, and just kind of, so you can move on. You want to be able to move on. We don't want you to be stuck in any situation. We know that things happen day to day, but we don't want you stuck there. We want you to be able to express it, talk about it, and move on. Okay? Now, Tom, can you go to the next slide, please?
Miss Doreen, somebody has their hand up. If I'm not sure if you answered their question already.
Okay, Amy, you had a question?
I just want to know if you, it was before, but I was gonna ask a question. Can you, one of you ladies put in the number because of this, the slide? If we didn't write it down, can you put it in the chat for everyone to have the 1-800 numbers or?
Okay, it's on this next slide we're doing right now, Amy.
Okay.
If you see it at the bottom.
Okay.
This is our motto. Asking for help is a sign of strength. That's our motto at Parents Inc. That if you ask for help, that means you're strong today, that you're reaching out to get whatever it is that you need. So asking for help is a sign of strength. And if you look down, you can call our 1-800 number, 843-5437. Denise just put our online website in the chat, so you could look at that. And we also have a group that you can chat. If you want to chat online, we have a group that meets Wednesday mornings and Thursday evenings. That's something I'll send to Denise, or you can call our direct line and get, we can send you in an email where you can get this, where you can join this online chat. Okay, I have another question. Where is 127 Route? That's in Whitehorse Circle. That's in the Whitehorse Circle, off of Broad Street, when you're going on to Route 206. Okay, I have a few questions in the chat. Oh, okay, she said thank you. Okay, and if you have any other questions, you can always call our hotline. Okay, so somebody's going to win a prize today. What is our motto? What do we say at Parents Inc? Someone tell me, what is it that we say? Any hands up? Okay, Amy?
Oh, I didn't mean to do that. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
It won't go away. I think you have to delete it.
Oh, okay. Anybody remember what I just said our motto is? No one?
Asking for help is a sign of strength.
Okay, Richie, I'm going to drop you off a special Father Time shirt, Rich. I'm going to, because we also deal with fathers. Fathers are a part of this family and we need them. Okay, Brenda, what did you say? Okay, okay, was that Miss Rodriguez?
That was Miss Carol.
That was Miss Carol? Okay, Miss Rodriguez is on. Did you know what the motto is? What's the motto?
Asking for strength. Asking for help is your sign of strength.
Asking for help is a sign of strength. Okay, that's 2 t-shirts. We have one for D. Carol also. Guys, I want you to get this inside, that asking for help is a sign of strength, because we have asked the school system and Denise to help us, to help you. So asking for help is definitely a sign of strength. Now, who else can remember what the motto is? Tell me. Tell me.
Asking for help is a sign of strength.
Okay. Miss Gordon. Asking for help is a sign of strength. So when Miss Gordon needs help, she's going to ask for it. You ask for the help that you need. If there's something that you need, if you don't ask anyone, you're not going to get any help. That's just the way it goes. So, we're coming to the end of the workshop. And before we end, we do have a evaluation that we would like every parent to take, because this evaluation is a part of your participation. We want you to know how it went, whatever the questions are, just answer them. And it's also a part of the stipend requirement. This has been a wonderful morning. I'm just so excited. And before we do close, and before we're going to give you a few minutes to take the evaluation, the parent link, but I do want to ask you again, when we opened the workshop, we said, how do you feel? Now, when I close it, I want to ask you, how do you feel in the closing? So Tanisha, how are you feeling now?
I'm feeling a bit more relaxed, able to process the information that was provided today and compare it to all that I've been dealing with mentally. Like the father in the group, he said, you need to get out of your mind sometimes. I think I'm more like an overthinker. I always thinking. So it's positive for me heading forward.
Thank you, Ms. Pilgrim. Ms. Gordon, how are you feeling?
A lot less stressed now that I got it out.
Good, good. That's what we want to hear. Okay, Miss Andrea, how are you feeling?
I feel less stressed to the beginning, and I try to do some of the techniques. And I know I am not the only parents in this, and others lately, and I really admire them handling other situation, and I feel relaxed. I feel more relieved now.
Great. Okay, Farah, how are you feeling?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I'm feeling thankful now because listening to all those parents, I said, oh, I'm not alone. It's like, I can do it. I'm gonna try.
Okay, great. I'm glad you're feeling different. Okay, Miss D, how are you feeling? Miss D? Okay, we'll go to Miss Rodriguez. How are you feeling, Miss Rodriguez?
I'm feeling much better. I feel like we all learned a little bit about each other, without suspect. I gave the opinion of how to overcome some strategies, and we all learning from each other, so that helped a lot.
Good, good. Thank you so much, Miss Rodriguez. Okay, Miss D, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling much better. I mean, I have a lot of information. This has been very informative to share with other parents. So I'm really good about this.
Great, great, great. Okay, Amy, how are you feeling now?
I'm okay, I guess. I mean, I'm just confident. I'm looking forward to the next session for the advocating situation part. But I mean, I'm happy that to see the same thing that a lot of other parents, still have the same frustrations as me, and do have positive and negatives, which is good. But I'm fine. I mean, my situation dealing with the school has nothing to do with the group, but it just, I still have to deal with that after I hang up. So, so right now I'm just numb right now, but I'm, it was a good meeting, and I'm hoping that, next week would be even better. And I hope that we get more parent participation next week. So that would be good.
Okay. Rita, how are you feeling?
I feel good.
You feel good. Great. Okay, DeCarol, how are you feeling? DeCarol? Hello? Okay. All right, Brenda, how are you feeling? Brenda?
I'm feeling awesome. I'm really happy that everyone was able to take at least something from this first session. And hopefully, like Ms. Mary was saying, like hopefully we'll get more parents to participate in our next sessions. Guys, I know you guys you know, will take something out of this, and I can see like the advocacy of everyone in this group. And it's amazing to know that we do have parents out there that want to participate. So I'm really happy for you ladies. I really am. And gentlemen, because Mr. Rich has been awesome.
Yes,
So
yes.
I've been listening to you guys, and I think that you guys will definitely be really good parents leaders.
Okay, Denise, how are you feeling?
I am feeling so excited and so encouraged, and I'm excited to see what steps everyone takes to take it to the next level, to see how we're able to empower and just see the growth in like, because we're in the process now. And
Right.
I'm an outcome driven person, and I like to see like what will the end results look like. So I like to come up with some ideas and strategies to share with parents and see what they come up with, and really, help to plug them into not only the support groups, but what's happening at their schools. How can they be more involved in their schools? How can they volunteer with us here at central office? How can they volunteer at their, schools? And, like I said in the beginning, meeting parents where they're at.
Yes.
So whether that means that for right now, the only thing I can give is participating in meetings like this, we're okay with that. You're showing up, you're being present, you're saying that, hey, I'm ready for this. And once I get to those next steps, I'll know who to connect with in order to get me into the place of either volunteerism, starting a support group, or even if it's just, because we have a pay it forward program here, even if it's just spreading that kindness and helping to change our climate and culture here in Trenton Public Schools. Being kind, it sounds so simple, but sometimes it's not an easy thing to do. And just remembering that we all have stories. We all go through something. We all have struggled during this pandemic, whether it's losing a loved one, whether it's feeling sick ourselves, feeling burnt out, going through mental health issues, seeing other people go through mental health issues. I can attest to losing a lot of loved ones. I can attest to going through a lot of struggles. So just being able to have an open space to say, it's okay to not be okay, but we're in this together. You're not alone. And we're going to work through this to see how we can make this a better place for not only you, but for your children, because they do come first.
Right. And I just want to say thank you for the opportunity. And this is just like I said in the beginning, this is step one. This is only step one. Denise and Brenda have opened a door to an organization that is found and built on parent leadership. And that's what we want you to do. Be leaders in your own family first, then in the schools, and then in your community. And now I want you all to look in the chat, and there is a survey that everyone needs to take, okay? Everyone that's on the line today in the Zoom, I want you to take a few minutes to answer all the questions on the survey. And I just want to say thank you again. Parents Inc. is your new partner, and I'm hoping to see you all again and again and again and again. And you'll begin to see our face in your community.
I want to answer Amy before she, it was intentional that the survey had nothing to do with this workshop. This survey that we were putting out is to get a feel for what you are feeling, because that's basically how we opened up, is how are you feeling? Where are you at in Trenton Public Schools? Okay, so that's the purpose of the survey. Take your time, because we're not done the series until in March. But in order to receive the stipend, if that's something that you're interested in, you will have to complete it at some point prior to ending our workshops with Parents Inc.
My question is though, the questions are pertaining right now to just your student, but if you have more than one student, how do you answer those questions? Like it's asking for my child
Give a general
reading
sense.
level.
Yeah.
So I have two different children, one on a higher reading level than the other. So what is the answer that you guys are looking for? Like, that's what I'm asking. I mean,
You do have the option to fill out the survey more than once. That's your choice. There's no wrong answer. So we're not asking for you like to say, his GPA is this and his reading level is this, or like a general census, of where you feel, the reading level is the ungrateful. If you don't know, that's okay. Just put, I don't know.
oh, I know, but what I was just saying is that, what does that have to do with the workshops? Like, I'm not understanding the survey when you guys are already asking questions. Like, so
I just want to say,
you guys can keep the $100. I don't need the $100. I'm just saying in generally, like, these are the same survey questions that are being asked. Like, I don't mind, I'll answer them. But my whole thing is that you're asking us to do the survey, and then so I'm doing it, and then I'm like, okay, well, I'll take it more than once. But what does my child's reading level have to do with, the workshop? Like, I mean, being a parent leader, leadership. Like, I don't understand the question. Like, that's what I'm not understanding. The questions are relevant to these workshops, I'm assuming. So
it's gonna also help to guide and build out support groups, because although you feel it may be redundant, a lot of parents don't fill out some of these surveys. It's just a starting point. And don't overthink it. Don't overanalyze, like, oh, well, why are we doing? And if you don't feel comfortable filling it out, that's okay too.
No, but do you know how many times I've wrote the same thing constantly?
It's never been facilitated for me, so I can't speak to anybody else's work but my own. And like I said, we're all starting fresh. Today is a new day. I apologize for whatever has happened to you in the past. I'm committed to supporting the parents that are in this group and any other parent that comes through these doors. And anybody that has worked with me knows that I am 100% committed. When I say something, and sometimes people think that's not possible, I trust me, I make things happen.
Right.
So,
and the whole other thing is that we deal with families. We don't only deal, we deal with the entire family. And that means your children. We have children support groups. So it's look at it, Amy, as a family survey, just to find out where you are, where your family is, and where we can give you the support that you need. That's all. That's all it's about. We're about families, children, grandparents. We're about building strength in families. That's your entire family. Does anyone else have any questions about the survey that I can help you with? Okay, so we do look forward to you. This is an ongoing process. Like I said, this is day one. We're going to have day 2, and we're going to have workshop 3, 4, 5, and 6. And this will build you up until the leader and the advocate that we want to give you some new tips on. Okay, and to build up not only in your community, your school. We want this to be a full circle. We want it to work in your home. We want it to work help you to work it in your school, help it to work it in your community and in your children. We are family strengthening organizations. So we strengthen entire families. So you're going to be seeing surveys probably after each workshop. So, you just complete them. If you have any questions, Denise is here, I'm here, Brenda's here to help you get through the survey. Okay. Does anybody else have any questions? It's been a blast, and I'm looking forward to the workshop on Thursday. It's going to be in Spanish, but I like to be there to show my face, to show the support that we're giving you. And, you're going to learn some more strategies. If you know someone who's under stress, make sure they come so they can get them symptoms and get that information that you received today. Okay, so thank you again, Trenton, Board of Education, Trenton Public Schools, Trenton parents, Trenton dads, Richie, I got you. I'm so excited and I'm looking forward to seeing you guys on next Tuesday. Okay, if you have any questions, you can please, you have the phone number and the website. You can get in touch with us at the office if you choose to. Okay, enjoy your Tuesday. Ciao.
Everyone, have a nice day.
You too. Have a